Good morning and welcome to another one of Drew's Book Review. So today we are doing part 2 of Orson Scott Card's Maps and Mirrors, the short fiction of Orson Scott Card. So part 2 is titled Flux, Tales of Humanity's Future. So essentially this part of the book is a collection of short stories, science fiction stories, as the title suggests, about the future of humanity. So the first story in this is titled "A Thousand Deaths." Now this is pretty gruesome story about a man who has basically acted out against the reigning oppressive tyrannical government of his day. And as punishment for his crimes, he will be brutally executed in very imaginative ways multiple times, over and over and over again, until he confesses his deep sorrow for the actions that he's taken against his government. So the story goes on to describe all the different ways in which he died, and all the different ways in which they could kill him until they virtually give up and realize that they're never going to break him, because he realizes that they could keep killing him, but they won't convince him that he's wrong. And how they do this is basically by taking your memories and your mind and your consciousness and your awareness and everything that makes you, and putting it into the body of a clone that replaces the body that they've killed. And so it's as if, except you have all the memories, including your previous deaths. So it becomes this constant round of torture and death, torture and death. But I really like it because it really is a story of rebelling against tyranny and oppression for those that seek liberty and freedom. And I think that's just a really, really awesome story concept. One that has certainly been done over and over and over again in numerous just different capacities. But nonetheless, it is a story that I love to read. I love to read those kinds of stories, as many others do. So, Clap Hands and Sing is the story of this man and woman who, unknown to each other, travel back in time in order to have one perfect night together. The other not realizing that the other had also traveled back in time to have the most perfect night together, both thinking that they were meeting up with younger versions of the other, unknown that they were actually their future selves traveling back to the past to have that one perfect night together. I'd say it's kind of a interesting little short story idea, but not one. As far as the story itself, certainly wasn't my favorite of them. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it was just kind of okay. Wasn't the greatest story in there by any stretch. I would say A Thousand Deaths was probably my favorite of them all. But Clap Hands and Sing, just a basic, not that exciting, but not overly dull either. Just an overall interesting little read, and I liked it for what it was. Then Dog Walker was just this kind of cyberpunkish story about these guys, hacking computers and passwords to create false government documents. Not really my type of story, but hey, if you like cyberpunk, go for it. But honestly, I just was kind of blah on that one too. Not that great of a story. Didn't really enjoy it too much. But like I said, if you're into cyberpunk, go for it. And the other next one was, but we try not to act like it. So this is another story about this kind of oppressive, all-controlling government, but it's based around the cable company, in which everybody has to have a television set in their home, by law, basically, and within the rules that they have there, as far as TV goes, is that it must always be on, and you cannot turn it off, and you must always have the volume on, and that they have made law that you have to watch certain type of programming. So everybody's programming is unique and different based off of their individual and just a whole ton of data that they've collected from you. And so they customize programming that they think would be safest for you, because certain types of programming will cause certain people to go crazy or become violent or become depressed or something. So they tailor this programming to your psych profile. And you don't get a say in what it is. You just have to absolutely watch this. And this story deals with a single character who all he wants to do is read his books. He wants to read his books. That's it. But he can't. It's driving him crazy because he has to have this TV on. So that definitely interesting concept. Government state controlled programming dictated to our own psyche through the TV set. I have to admit, I really love the idea. It's just awesome. Of course, uh, not what's going on now by any means, but definitely a very, very awesome and interesting way to tell a tale. I'd probably rank that up there with one of my favorites out of Tales of Our Future from this book. I Put My Blue Jeans On would be the next one up, and just kind of a idea about two groups of people who think they're still at war with each other but not, around dealing with scientists who are working on genetic disease and genetic immunity to diseases, and kind of mixing and matching and going around there. It does take place in the future with interplanetary space travel, but it's not one of his greatest works, that's for sure. As far as Card's concerned, I wasn't too impressed with the story overall. But hey, maybe that's just me. Who knows? And then we have In the Doghouse. So this is an interesting concept in which aliens have invaded Earth, but not in the form or the disguise that we otherwise would have thought. They have come in the form of dogs. So this alien salesman comes to Earth in the guise of human to sell the world doghouses. Doghouses that manage to supply all the power and energy that mankind could ever need. And then once the world was ready, once doghouses have been distributed so effectively globally, then the aliens came, took over the dog's body, and that's how dogs became man's best friend. I guess maybe what Card's trying to say here is that they're really super intelligent aliens, which, let's just face it, is just a hilarious concept in and of itself. But still, definitely a story I enjoyed. I think it's one of my favorites just because I think the whole concept is so humorous, so funny. And then we have the final book, The Originist. This one is fan fiction, actually. It is fan fiction of Isaac Asimov's Foundation and Empire series. So The Originist deals with the beginnings of the Second Foundation and the study of human origins through the world and eyes of Orson Scott Card within the Foundation series of books by Isaac Asimov. That's actually got me thinking maybe I should pick up Foundation series and reread it, because I remember first time I read that series. It's just a fantastic, amazing series, and probably one of the best science fiction series of books I've ever read. And it's really nice to see some fan fiction by a author as talented as Orson Scott Card in The Originist. So definitely, I really enjoyed that one. It's about the longest of the short stories in here, but really kind of took me back to that Foundation and Empire series. So if you haven't read Foundation by Isaac Asimov, definitely do so. And if you like fan fiction, I don't think you're going to get a better fan fiction writer than Orson Scott Card. The Originist, really good. Overall, really, really enjoyed the Tales of Humans' Future within Maps in a Mirror. So, of course, as always, thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment below, and stay tuned, because the next one will be Fables and Fantasies under Book 3 in Maps in a Mirror. So, stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching, and I hope you have yourself a fantastic day. And as always, links to my Facebook and Twitter feeds will be in the description below. You have yourself a great day.